There's no such thing as a good or bad memory. There is no such thing as a good or bad memory. There's just a trained memory and an untrained memory. Does that make sense? Now, here's the thing. I grew up with these learning challenges. I had all these difficulties all through school, all through elementary, middle school, junior high, high school. I had all of these challenges. At the age of 9, I remember a teacher looking at me thinking I wasn't either smart enough to understand what she was saying or wasn't paying attention. She was talking to another adult, and she said, "That's the boy with the broken brain." And I was like, at 9 years old, right? And so those kind of identity issues, those beliefs, does that make a difference? Yes, right? And a lot of people believe that they can't do certain things. They can just never remember names. So I could teach them a strategy, but if the belief is not changed, what happens? It's not, because it becomes self-fulfilling. I remember running a marathon, and preparing for it, I read a chapter of one of the books, and it was on the psychology of running a marathon, right? The mental part. And it said this verbatim, word for word, because I'm a memory expert. It said, "Your brain is like a supercomputer, and your self-talk is a program it will run. So if you tell yourself you're not good at remembering names, you will not remember the name of the next person you meet because you programmed your supercomputer not to." A lot of people say, "Oh, I have a bad memory," right? They always think, "I have memory," or "I have focus," or "I don't have focus," or "I have creativity," "I don't have creativity." I want you to scrap that. Creativity is not something you have, it's something you do. Focus is not something you have, focus is something you do. Energy is not something you have or don't have, it's something you do. Memory is not something you have, it's something you do. And what's the benefit of turning it into a do, as opposed to something you have? What's the benefit? You have control over it, because you can put it into a process. It becomes a strategy, because there's a strategy for reading faster. There's a strategy for remembering names. There's a strategy for having focus. And it's a verb, not a noun.
I'm the why guy. I don't know why you do what you do. What is your motive for action? What is it that drives you in your life today, not 10 years ago, or are you running the same pattern? Because I believe that the invisible force of internal drive activated is the most important thing in the world. I'm here because I believe emotion is the force of life. All of us here have great minds. You know, most of us here have great minds. Right? I don't know if I'm in the category, but we all know how to think. And with our minds, we can rationalize anything, we can make anything happen.
I am one decision away from a totally different marriage, a totally different life, a totally different job, a totally different income, a totally different relationship with my kids. Not like one decision, I'm divorcing you, in the marriage example, but one decision on, you could be having a conversation with your spouse and you feel your emotions rise up, and within a tiny window, those emotions can take over and can impact how your marriage goes. Or you can learn how to take control of that micro moment and make a decision to act in a way that actually shifts your marriage. Your life comes down to your decisions, and if you change your decisions, you will change everything.
The mind has a tactical advantage over you at all times. At all times of your life, the mind has a tactical advantage over you. Why is that? It knows what you're afraid of. It knows your insecurities. It knows your deep, dark lies. And it starts to push you away from that shit. It pushes you in a direction that is comfortable. The mind controls everything. So what I realized was that when I was growing up and I was 300 pounds and I got all fat and I got all insecure, I realized that my mind kept taking me in this direction. When things got uncomfortable for me, when I was facing my insecurities, I was facing my fears, my mind said, "Oh no, we have the tactical advantage. We need to get you, separate you from this feeling over your life. It's all about feelings. We want the happy feeling. We don't want that feeling of this sucks. Why am I here?" And you don't have any, so you can't answer those questions, so you leave. I started realizing that if in that moment you can answer those questions, and you are now in charge of your brain versus your brain ruling you, that's where all that stuff comes from. So the 40% rule is all of that. You get to 40%, your brain says, "We're done. Let's roll, man. This is starting to get painful. This is uncomfortable." So you sit down. You have to figure out ways. Everybody's different. That's how the book kind of talks about. Like we all have these things about, 5 steps to this and 4 steps to this. It's a lot more than that. That's all bullshit. It's a practice that you have to. It's a habit. So if you know that at 40% I'm feeling pain. At 40% I'm feeling pain. That's where the 40% rule kicks in. Now it starts. Okay, I'm feeling pain. My mind's saying all this shit. It's saying get out of here, run, flee. The fight or flight kicks in. Okay, we're done. We're not good enough. It starts telling you all these things. You start to believe it because the mind controls all. This is the time when you have to gain control back of your mind. You say, okay, let's see if I can figure this out. And once you start giving yourself more and more hope, you start realizing, okay, the mind starts to be, okay, what are you doing? We're supposed to be going right, and you're going left. You start then controlling your mind. You start finding more in yourself. And it goes from 40% to a lot further than that. That's the start of it. Get to the spot where your mind is saying stop. Whatever that is, you gotta get there first. And then that's when that starts to work for you. You gotta control yourself now.
Let me give you a secret one-step rule right here. Work. A lot. Based on what your mouth is saying. You want to be a millionaire? You need to become a workaholic. Right? You want to have good work-life balance and great family and be on the softball team and raise your kids and make $100,000? That's an amazing, let me just say it real quick, that's a ridiculous life. Making $100,000, that's a ridiculous life. You make $47,000 and see your kids and do your thing and be happy, that's great, right? But don't talk shit. Talk your reality. Talk your truth. Create a framework that you can follow. Because the only people listening to your excuses or your bullshit are your loser fucking friends.
What is in us, we have no idea until we start trying hard. And I mean really trying hard, when you're obsessed with, hey, this is my new norm. My new norm is that, wow, this isn't always fun. It's not always meant to be fun. And that's when you know you're trying hard.
People want to know how to stop the laziness, and they want to know how to stop the procrastination. You want to improve? You want to get better? You want to get on a workout program or a clean diet? You want to start a business? You want to write a book or make a movie or build a house or a computer or put together some mobile application? Where do you start? You start right here. And when do you start? You start right now.